Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something that touches each and every one of us: darkness. It's something we all face, whether it's the darkness of pain, loss, confusion, or even fear. We don't get to choose when the night falls in our lives, but we do get to choose how we respond to it. And I want to remind you today that even in the darkest of times, there are treasures to be found. The darkness is real. We can't deny that. There are seasons in life when everything feels uncertain, when the weight of the world presses down so hard that it seems like the light will never shine again. But let me tell you something. Darkness is not your enemy. Darkness is the environment in which your greatness is born. You see, the night may be long, but the dawn always comes. And when the light breaks through, it reveals treasures you never knew existed. Now, some of you are asking, how do I find treasure in my darkness? How do I make sense of this pain, this struggle, this confusion? Let me tell you this. The power of perseverance is one of the most incredible gifts you can possess. When you walk through the night, you learn how to carry weight you never thought you could bear. You discover a strength you didn't know was inside of you. And it's through that strength, through the act of continuing to move forward when all feels lost, that you uncover something deeper. There is a saying, the darkest hour is just before the dawn. And I stand here to tell you that the trials you're going through right now are shaping you, preparing you, even refining you. Every challenge, no matter how overwhelming, contains a hidden blessing. Inside the trial is the opportunity for you to rise higher than you've ever been. You don't find treasure on the surface. Treasure is buried deep, and to find it, you have to be willing to dig. You have to be willing to press on even when you can't see the end of the tunnel. Now, I'm going to say something that might surprise you. Sometimes the greatest treasures are not material things. Sometimes the greatest treasures are the lessons learned in the struggle. They are the wisdom that comes from surviving the storm, the resilience built from overcoming the obstacles that seemed impossible. In that darkness, you find courage, strength, and clarity that would have been impossible to find in the light. You learn who you really are. There is something powerful that happens when we trust what we cannot see. Faith in the unseen is what carries us when the path is unclear. Even when you can't see the way forward, know this: you are not walking alone. You are walking through this season for a reason, and there are treasures, blessings waiting to be uncovered just beyond your reach. Sometimes those blessings are exactly what you need to transform your life. I know it's hard to hold on when it feels like the night will never end, but I'm here to tell you the darkness doesn't last forever. You will emerge stronger. The night will fade, and when it does, you will see that the very struggle that seemed to break you was actually the thing that made you stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you ever imagined. So today I challenge you, don't fear the darkness. Don't run from the struggles. They are not punishments. They are the pathway to your greatest treasures. When you look back, you'll see that the very things you thought were going to destroy you were the things that built you up. In the darkness, you are being refined. You are being prepared for something greater. And when the light breaks through, you will see clearly the treasure that has been waiting for you all along. Hold on. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. Darkness is something that we cannot escape from. It is a part of life. Sometimes it comes unexpectedly. Other times it settles in slowly, but it always arrives. And when it does, it can make us feel lost, confused, and isolated. When you're walking through a dark season, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a personal struggle, or the weight of disappointment, it can feel as though the world has gone quiet. as if you're alone in an endless night. And in that moment, it's hard to see anything beyond the present pain. But what if I told you that the darkness is not something to fear? What if I told you that in that very space, there is something valuable waiting for you? Too often, we view darkness as a sign of defeat or punishment, but it's not. It's simply part of the journey. It's in the dark that we are shaped and molded, not in the bright and easy moments. The darkness allows us to grow in ways that the light never could. So yes, we must acknowledge the reality of the darkness. It's a part of the human experience. But rather than viewing it as an obstacle, we should recognize it as an opportunity, a necessary part of the process that leads us to something greater. Perseverance is one of the most powerful forces we possess when we face darkness. In those moments when everything feels heavy, when the world around us seems to be falling apart, and when it's hard to see any way forward, it is the strength to keep going that will ultimately carry us through. But perseverance doesn't come easily. It's not something that simply arrives when you need it. It's something that's built in the quiet moments, in the small choices you make every day to keep moving forward even when you don't feel like it. I want you to think about a diamond for a moment. It's one of the hardest substances on earth, but it wasn't always that way. It was once just a rough, unpolished stone, hidden deep beneath the surface, subjected to unimaginable pressure and heat. It was through that pressure, through the struggle, that it became what we now see as a treasure. In the same way you and I are shaped by the pressures of life, we may feel like we're being crushed under the weight of it all, but in reality, we're being refined. We're being made into something more valuable than we could have ever imagined. So don't underestimate the power of your persistence. Every day that you choose to keep going, despite the challenges, you are building something strong within yourself. You are creating a resilience that will serve you in ways you can't yet see. Keep pressing on, keep moving forward, because in the end, the treasure you find on the other side of the darkness is worth every step you took to get there. In life, it often feels like our hardest moments are the ones that define us, and in many ways they do. The trials we face, no matter how painful or overwhelming, hold within them a hidden potential for transformation. Every challenge, no matter how tough, carries with it the seeds of growth, change, and even victory. What we must remember, however, is that the beauty of transformation doesn't always look pretty in the process. It's in the struggle, the discomfort, and the tension that something greater begins to emerge. Take a moment to think about the process of refining gold. Gold doesn't start out shiny and beautiful. It begins as raw ore, a heavy and dull piece of metal. To transform it into something pure, it must first be subjected to intense heat. It must be melted, tested, and purified through fire. And while that process is difficult, it is exactly what allows it to emerge in its purest and most valuable form. In the same way, our challenges are the fires that refine us. They may feel like they're breaking us, but in reality, they are shaping us into something greater than we were before. Think about the person you were before your hardest challenges and the person you are now. You might look at yourself and see only the scars or the bruises of the battle. But if you look deeper, you'll also see the wisdom you've gained, the strength you've built, and the clarity you've found. You are different because of what you've been through. You are better because you survived. The trial didn't define you, it refined you. So while it's natural to want to escape the hard seasons, I want to challenge you to shift your perspective. Instead of viewing these moments as obstacles, try to see them as opportunities. Opportunities to grow, to expand, to discover parts of yourself you never knew existed. The treasure isn't just in the victory at the end, it's in the lessons you learn, the strength you build, and the person you become in the process. The hardest trials often lead to the most significant breakthroughs in life. And though the road may be tough, It is leading you towards something greater. Trust that you are being shaped for something extraordinary, and that when you emerge from this season, you will stand taller, stronger, and more capable than you ever thought possible. In the midst of hardship, it's easy to believe that all we see is the suffering, the loss, and the struggle. It can feel like the darkness has swallowed everything whole, leaving no room for anything good. But let me tell you something profound. Even in the deepest darkness, there are blessings waiting to be discovered. Sometimes the greatest treasures of our lives are not immediately visible. They are hidden beneath the surface, waiting for us to dig a little deeper, to look beyond the obvious and to see the unseen. Think about the treasure buried beneath the soil, hidden away, waiting for the right moment to be unearthed. The treasure isn't just sitting there waiting to be found by chance. No, it requires effort, persistence, and a willingness to dig when it feels like the ground is hard and unyielding. Similarly, the blessings in our darkest times often don't come easily, but when we continue to press on, we begin to uncover things we might not have noticed before. Sometimes the treasure is the growth that takes place within us. In moments of struggle, we learn things about ourselves we never could have learned in the light. We discover a strength we didn't know we had, a resilience that we thought we lacked. These are the treasures that can't be measured in material wealth, but in the richness of our spirit, the depth of our character. Other times the treasure comes in the form of relationships. During difficult moments, we may find ourselves reaching out to others, and in turn, they reach out to us. Through shared experiences, we form deeper connections, often with people who have walked through similar darkness. These relationships forged in adversity can be some of the most meaningful and enduring treasures of our lives. The key is to remember that while darkness might try to cloud our vision, it also creates space for reflection and revelation. What we cannot see in the moment often becomes clear in hindsight. When we look back, we may realize that the very challenges that seemed to crush us actually prepared us for something far greater than we could have imagined. They taught us lessons we would have never learned otherwise. They made us capable of achieving things we once thought impossible. In those dark times, treasure is not always in the form of answers or immediate relief. Sometimes it's found in the wisdom that grows within us, in the way we become more compassionate, more empathetic, and more patient with ourselves and others. Sometimes the treasure is simply knowing that we survived, and that survival gives us the strength to face whatever comes next. So when you find yourself in the darkness, don't just wait for it to end. Start looking for the hidden treasures, because I promise you, they are there. They are woven into your struggle, into your pain, and into your perseverance. And when the light finally breaks through, you will see that everything you've been through has led you to the most valuable treasures of all. Faith in the unseen is one of the most powerful and vital components of navigating through the darkest times. It's easy to believe in what we can see, to trust in what is right in front of us. But the real challenge and the real strength is to believe when we cannot see the way forward, when everything is uncertain, when we don't have all the answers. That is when faith becomes a lifeline, guiding us through the unknown. When you are in the midst of darkness, faith is what tells you that even though you can't see it, something is happening. Even when you don't have the evidence in front of you, faith assures you that the breakthrough is on its way. Faith is the belief that your efforts are not in vain, that your endurance is not pointless, and that the struggle you are going through is shaping you for something greater. It's believing that there is purpose in your pain, that there is a reason for this season, even when you can't fully understand it. Faith doesn't demand immediate results, and it doesn't need everything to be clear right away. What it requires is trust. Trust that there is something bigger at work. Faith believes that even when you feel lost, you are not forgotten. Even when you feel weak, you are being made stronger. Even when the answers seem out of reach, you are being prepared for a future you can't yet see. When you look back on your life, the most significant moments often come when you couldn't see the way forward. They come when you had to trust in something bigger than yourself, when you had to rely on the strength that wasn't your own. And though you couldn't see it at the time, the faith you held onto was shaping your future, guiding you toward the treasure you couldn't yet comprehend. So when you find yourself in that season of uncertainty, when you can't see the road ahead, remember this: faith is your compass. It will lead you step by step toward the treasure waiting for you. You may not know exactly when or how the light will break through, but trust that it will. Keep believing, keep walking, and keep holding on to the unseen, because in the end, your faith will lead you to exactly what you need. The darkness doesn't last forever. It may feel like the night will never end, but I promise you that the dawn is coming. This is one of the most powerful truths we can hold on to in our darkest moments. No matter how long or how overwhelming the night feels, there is always a breaking point, a moment when the light will shine through and bring clarity, peace, and understanding. The darkness may try to convince you that it is won, that it will define your life. But remember, it is only temporary. When you finally see the light again, it's not just about the relief of the struggle ending, it's about the new perspective you gain. After enduring the darkness, you see the world differently. You notice the beauty in things you once overlooked. You appreciate the simple joys because you now know what it feels like to have them taken away. The contrast between the dark and the light makes everything more vivid, more meaningful. Your victories, small and large, carry a weight they didn't before because you fought for them. And here's something that may surprise you. Sometimes the most profound growth happens in the very moment when the darkness seems to be over. It's easy to think that once the struggle ends, everything will go back to normal. But the truth is, we are never quite the same after we've passed through something difficult. We carry the lessons, the strength, and the wisdom we gained with us even when the storm has passed. The beauty of emerging from the darkness is that you see your own resilience. You begin to understand just how much you are capable of, and that understanding gives you the courage to face future challenges with a new sense of strength. What's even more powerful is knowing that you will never be the same again. The darkness has shaped you, and while it may have been painful, it has led you to a place where you are now better equipped to handle life's next season. You have walked through the fire and come out refined, tempered, and ready to face anything that lies ahead. The darkness has not broken you, it has built you. And now with every step you take in the light, you carry that strength with you. You walk taller, you walk stronger, and you walk with a deep knowing that no matter how dark it gets, you will make it through. As we close today, I want you to remember this. Darkness is not the end, it is the beginning of something greater. Each struggle, each challenge, each moment of doubt is not there to break you, but to build you. It is in the darkest seasons of our lives that we discover the greatest treasures, strength we never knew we had, wisdom we could never have gained in ease, and a faith that is unshakable. Understand that when the night feels long and the road ahead feels uncertain, it's not the end of your story. It's simply the chapter where you are being refined, prepared, and transformed. And no matter how overwhelming it feels, the dawn always follows the night The light will return, and when it does, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more equipped to take on whatever lies ahead. So hold on, keep moving forward. Even when you don't see the way, dig deep, trust the process, and know that your breakthrough is closer than you think. The treasures in the darkness are waiting for you, and when you find them, they will guide you to a life greater than you ever imagined. Thank you.